Welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish, the podcast where we sit down with neighbors, experts, and friends to explore the stories, the questions, and the big little issues that shape life in our town, one conversation at a time. This week, we're speaking with the Naomi Society about their plans for a new building out at Sugarloaf, and we learned some really interesting, if not disturbing, facts about the prevalence of intimate partner violence. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish. This is your co-host, Justin, here with...
Anuj.
Hello, Anuj.
How are you?
Nice to see you again.
Oh, no.
You don't believe it.
We are meeting too frequently.
I know. I just was talking to you yesterday. I feel like that's too many times in 1 week. So today on the podcast, we are going to talk about some interesting new developments with the Naomi.
What is it?
Oh, yes, they're building a building. Everybody's favorite thing to talk about, the Naomi Society. And we have, Pat, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your full title because you told me it was too long for an old man like me to memorize. So go ahead, Pat. Who are you?
Okay, so Pat McKenna, and I work for Naomi Society, and I am the Second Stage Housing Coordinator and Fund Coordinator. It's a long title.
Second Stage Housing Coordinator and Fund Coordinator.
What is second stage?
What does this mean?
So I'm glad you asked. So Second Stage Housing is, you've all heard of shelters?
Yeah.
So when a woman and her children flee violence, they go to a shelter. There is no shelter in Antigonish. There's no shelter in Guysborough County. The closest shelters are in New Glasgow and Port Hawkesbury. So women have to flee the community. But when they come back to the community, they come to what's called second stage housing. Some people also call it transitional housing.
Yes.
And we call it affordable housing for women and children fleeing violence because it is deeply affordable. So it gives them a head start to get back on track.
Okay, we've spoken to roof over your head about that fact that there is no transitional housing. Is the transitional housing that you're talking about, is that for women fleeing, or is that also for other unhoused people?
Yeah, it could be for all unhoused people.
Okay.
And, our lane is for women and children fleeing violence.
Okay.
And if you remember, we had talked about to affordable housing, who has clarified how they are different from many other facilities that we need in this town.
Yes, these are all offering different services, but they're all gaps, essentially, that we don't have, and now you're creating housing that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, it does exist. We have 2 units in town right now.
Oh, wow.
But we're creating 10 more. So the 2 units we have right now are obviously they're hidden units.
Apparently.
And we'll talk about that as we talk about women and children fleeing violence.
Yeah, so we're already on the development side, so we will get into what you're building, and then we will get into why it's necessary. So explain your current building plans, where and what is happening.
Sure. So we are building up at Sugarloaf. Dr. Amy Hendricks and Paul Davey, who a lot of people know in the community.
Our first interview was with them.
Yeah, awesome people. And they are partners on this land and building an intentional community. So we know that CACL is up there already.
Yep.
We know that Antigonish Affordable Housing is going in the back.
Yep.
We know that the medical clinic is being built as we speak.
Yep, that's the one with the cool piano thing that Amy wanted up at the
Looking
top.
very interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting too. The Sugarloaf Symphony Orchestra she's going to create.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so you've got plots there now?
And we have a piece, yeah. So when you turn into the left, CACL is on the left, and we're on the right.
Oh, just right opposite.
Right there.
So
Yeah.
so the Naomi Society then has been given a chunk of land to build a thing. So that's the transitional housing?
Second stage housing.
Second stage housing.
No worries. And so what we're building is 10 units of second stage housing. So it's going to be a fairly complex, decent-sized building. We have seed funding from CMHC and from Community Housing Transformation Center, which is kind of the provincial arm of the federal government to give money. So our seed funding will get us to a certain point, and then we have to go after kind of the real money, and that's after you get a Class B estimate. So when your architects do the job, and we have architects. So they started the design process last weekend. We had a strategy session, and between our board and our staff, and I have a building advisory committee for Naomi Society that is helping us because you can't do this work by yourself. It's very complex. And so our architects, Habit Architecture, and then Tim Welch Consulting. And Tim is also doing some work. His consulting firm is doing some work with Antigonish affordable housing as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of synergy on that site. And so once we get our design done, then we're off and running.
So your pie in the sky target date for completion and people coming in, what would that be?
Yeah, so pie in the sky, it's Halloween. So thinking about pies and sweet chocolate. Pie in the sky is we start construction in August of 2026, and it'll about a year and a half from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So you're building transitional housing units. You're not building, second stage, and you're not going to have an office.
You can call it affordable housing for women fleeing violence, because a lot of people, they just don't know what second stage is, and it gets confusing. So we use that vernacular, unless we're talking to the government, who might know what second stage is.
Okay, so affordable housing for women fleeing violence.
Right.
Right. So it's not going to be an administrative office for your group. These are just housing.
Can be. So
could be.
Right now we're kind of split up around several office packages. So the goal would be to try and amalgamate into one package as well. So that's in the design concept phase now. And the goal would be to have an office package there as well, and to meet our clients there.
So say a little bit more about how you work with the Women's Resource Center in Antigonish. Is that something that you collaborate on?
We do. We meet and talk frequently, but we're kind of different organizations. We're focused more on specifically around the point of women fleeing violence. And the Resource Center, it's in their title with resources. They provide resources to different things in the community as well. So we work together, but in a separate lane.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So what then, we'll get into the meat of what this organization is and does. So what is the Naomi Society, and what will these units be used for?
Yeah, so the Naomi Society is an outreach society to support women and children fleeing violence. So we have we do a lot of different things. Like we do, we coordinate with shelters when women are in trouble. We coordinate transportation. We'll accompany women to court. We'll support women through the whole process, including making safety plans, assist with kind of housing applications or any kind of income or legal support. So when someone comes to us, we are that full service provider for them to get out of trouble.
So paint me a picture. You have a woman who has made this obviously extremely difficult decision to leave, to flee. At what point do you get called? Are you the first number that they're calling?
It could be, yeah, depending on when they're fleeing. Right. So there's a 24-hour helpline. I don't have the number in front of me, but through the province. And that goes to the 10 organizations that are part of the Transitional Houses of Nova Scotia, THANS. Okay. So the call will go through and it will just rotate through until someone picks up quite quickly, because it goes to 24-hour, But if it's paint a picture, it's 3:00 on a Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. They pick up the phone and they call Naomi Society. We're the first call. We may do a virtual call with them. We could do an in-person if they're able to safely make it in. And then the first, and I'm not.
You're not the front line.
I'm not client-facing.
No one
right?
is calling Pat.
No, exactly. And so, but they call the team at Naomi, and we have 3 or 4 support workers on staff, and so they'll make an arrangement to start the discussion if it's the first phone call. Generally, people don't pick up the call, first call and leave. Generally, it takes. There's a lot of. Well, that's why we're building housing, because for the most part, people can't leave because there's nowhere to go.
I see.
Right? I see. And so that's step one, is to try and create affordable housing, because no one has anywhere to go. And then also just the whole financial piece, it makes it very difficult. So that first call is about really establishing a safety plan so you can stay in the environment until you're ready to go.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're strategizing with them what the next steps would be.
Yeah.
And let's say in the current version, the next steps would be to flee. You're saying they're headed out toward Pictou or New Glasgow, is it? Could
be anywhere in the province.
Okay.
As an example, I think there's 483 shelter beds in the province.
Okay.
Last week, they're all full.
Really? 483 dedicated to this problem, women fleeing violence.
And it's full. So the province declared intimate partner violence. It's called intimate partner violence, gender-based violence. They declared it an epidemic in 2024. And last year alone, we had 8 murders. We in the industry, in the sector, it's called femicide. So there were 8 femicides in the province last year alone, and they declared it an epidemic. It really is a deep problem. Before I joined the organization, I had no idea.
Yeah,
honestly.
I didn't realize the extent of it until you're giving me the numbers just now.
It's so bad. So, that's why the housing is so needed. And when the shelters are full, like, where do you go?
Well, yeah.
And so when you say fleeing, can you just explain that actually women try and leave the physical space or town they are in and try and go to another place? Is that the idea of being away from that particular environment?
Yes. So when a woman flees violence, that is the time when they're most apt to be murdered by their intimate partner. So when they flee, it's very undisclosed, and they essentially disappear. And so they could go anywhere in the province, even to other provinces, as long as there's a space for them to safely get away.
So the housing that you're building here, then, that's not necessarily intended for people from this community, right? Like, is it
Correct.
actually better to leave further afield?
So sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It depends on the supports you want around you. So you imagine when someone flees, they have to uproot their whole family, and normally there are children involved. So the children are losing all their resources. They're maybe grandma and grandpa. And so we want to get women back into our community, but to your point, yeah, they could be from. We serve Antigonish and Guysborough counties, so primarily I would imagine the residents will be from Antigonish Town, Antigonish County, Guysborough County, but they could come from anywhere because we will have a full, access to people who just need safe housing.
And if you were to know, like 483 is the number of the units now, province-wide, but what kind of demand are we talking about across the province? Just to give a listener sense of what is the nature of problem here.
Yeah, so I don't know the actual stat, but I think it's something like a woman tends, when they want to flee, it's between 8 and 17 times they will make contact prior to actually leaving that relationship. So it's hard to put a number to your question because, especially with 8 murders. I think there were 11 murders in Nova Scotia the year before total. And last year, there were 8 just with intimate partner violence. So I think it's difficult to kind of quantify an answer for that.
But the sense that I'm trying to ask is that there is a latent demand for more of this service.
Yes. Yeah. There's a huge demand for, when you hear about the demand for housing, this is also a huge demand. Yeah.
So when someone flees and they go to this unit, I'm assuming there must be pretty strict protocols in place about how that person is contacted or works with I'm assuming you must have social workers. Like there must be people from your organization speaking with them. Like how are their lives organized when they land somewhere?
Yeah. So just, the path is they'll go to a shelter.
Shelter
right?
first. Okay.
And then they'll come back from a shelter into second stage housing. When they come into second stage housing, they work directly with a Naomi support worker so that we can support them through all those measures. There's with intimate partner violence, it's an automatic charge to the perpetrator. So it's an automatic court proceeding. It's going to happen.
Okay.
So there's support all the way through that process from Naomi Society to our client.
And I suspect there must be security protocols involved as well. Like you're dealing with restraining orders and
emergency protection orders. They're in the physical space, like the building that we will build.
Yeah.
There will be it will be fully technology. I mean, there'll be cameras. There'll be sensors. Like we need the building to be very safe. Double entries, key fobs, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's a specialized building built for this purpose, and more security is involved.
It is,
and so 2 questions. Do you work closely with RCMP? And 2, typically, what's the range of time that people who are facing this stay in these houses?
Yeah, we do work closely with the RCMP.
Right.
Yeah, and so if there's a domestic investigation, we will know about it.
And mostly it's women RCMP officers or anyone?
No, it can be any RCMP officer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're well versed now and getting more educated around it as well, because it is such a significant problem in the province right now and throughout the world. Your second question was more. What was your second question, Anuj?
How long typically? What's the
typical
range?
stay? Yeah. So they may stay at a shelter for 2 to 6 months. Okay. Until somewhere opens up, right? And a lot of women will have to go back to their perpetrator because there's nowhere to go. So you imagine that. That's terrible. When they get to second stage housing, we have a policy in there where it's 12 months to 24 months. COVID was difficult because there was nowhere to go. But this year alone, we've had 4 clients in our second stage housing. So we've had 2 clients progress on to affordable housing rental, and we have 2 more clients that we're supporting now.
And quick question on that. So, I would assume that women probably don't have, access to money in these times, or even if they're doing jobs, they probably get uprooted. So how's the financial side of things get managed, for a day-to-day expense for them?
Yeah. So we try and support them where we can. We don't financially support our clients, but there are subsidies in the province right now for rental. And they qualify if it's a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. There's different rates. I think it's $900 for a 1-bedroom, $1,100 monthly, and they'll qualify for that for 2 years. So that's actually a pretty exceptional thing the province has done for women fleeing. And our rents are very low because we recognize that when they come out of this situation, sometimes they were working, now they're not working, or they weren't working and now they have no money, and the bank accounts get kind of, I don't want to say frozen, but tied up, right?
Yeah.
It becomes very difficult.
So these are rental units just at a really low price with a high probability that if they need help, the government can help fund it. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And the government will help fund anyone fleeing violence right now.
Oh,
So
okay.
not even to our units. If you are in a violent situation and you want to exit, there's a subsidy that you can get a rent subsidy for 2 years if you're fleeing violence. You just need a referral from an agency, and we can provide those referrals.
And is that information readily available to Antigonishers, and especially now that we are talking and sitting
Well,
here?
that's why I'm on your podcast.
Fantastic.
Let's make the
Thank
information readily available. And, I think anybody not in this sector wouldn't really know about it. But I think a woman who is suffering abuse at the hands of their partner, they're doing a lot of investigating.
Mm-hmm. And so what would you say to people who are listening who might know of someone, or maybe they themselves are dealing with this situation? Where should they reach out to?
I think one of the biggest things is that when the RCMP investigate a murder, for instance, something that comes up all the time is people knew.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what to do. So if you don't know what to do, give us a call at Naomi Society, and we can educate you on how to be an ally to the situation and to help have a conversation with the person being abused. As a good friend, it's difficult, right? People don't want to get involved. They're like, I don't want to get involved. Absolutely. But in those situations, we have to step in. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, phone Naomi Society, and we can help coach you on those conversations or point you in a direction where you can help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something that you'd like to tell anyone listening about violence, domestic violence, or this subject in general that they often misunderstand or get wrong, or you just wish that they knew?
I think really just the prevalence. Like in the first 6 months of our fiscal year, which is April to September, we supported 225 individual clients.
This is in Antigonish?
And Guysborough counties.
Okay.
Antigonish and Guysborough
That's
counties.
a very large percentage of the
It's
population.
a significant number,
Yeah.
And
This is amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. And, I've been in the housing sector now for 10 or 12 years, and now I have a new understanding of the urgency of this kind of housing. So I think, for just to let people know the prevalence of it, it's happening. If you suspect it's happening, it probably is. And also, if you're happening, to be listening to this podcast and you are a victim of intimate partner violence, there are resources. And so if you call Naomi Society, 863-3807, we can help.
A technical question on this. There's physical violence, and then there is non-physical violence. And often those mental problems can be even challenge can be higher.
Yeah,
you feel that you are just nowhere to go.
You're
is
right.
that also defined as violence or not?
Well, it's defined as coercion, and so there's financial control, emotional control. You hear of gaslighting, you hear of all these things, and they're all a form of intimate partner violence.
Okay.
Right?
So that is under this umbrella. So if you're someone, you haven't necessarily had physical violence, but you're dealing with all these other forms of coercion, that you could still call Naomi Society.
Absolutely.
Because this is part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have a number that you can share with listeners?
902-863-3807.
So in a scenario where the Naomi Society suddenly runs into unlimited funds, just imagine this scenario. What are your...
Justin is going to write a check, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Just after this, I'm going to write you a $3 billion check. Suddenly you had all these funds. What would your priorities be in terms of what are you doing next? What are you building? What programs are you creating?
If we had unlimited funds, I don't think we'd create new programs. First of all, I think what we do really well.
Okay.
So I think we'd increase the complement of our team to make more impact, right? And we're trying to do that now with capacity building measures already, like more fundraising and trying to augment the team to more support, right? So we can support the people.
So more people working at the office,
More
able to take
people
the phone
supporting,
calls. Yeah.
and more housing. So more second stage housing, and probably unlimited funds.
Yep.
Big piece of land. I think Antigonish or Guysborough needs a shelter.
A shelter. So that's the first place they go to.
Yeah, we need somewhere when people flee that they can stay in their community. I think it's very difficult right now when people lose all the resources and they end up in Yarmouth, as an example, right?
And is there I'm really intrigued. Thank you for sharing all this. So we can imagine a scenario where somebody's trying to flee, but would like to ideally be in a familiar space, like a relative or a friend or a neighbor, rather than in an unknown, undisclosed place, and depending on the situation, of course. So do you also have those kinds of network in the local community who might be able to house some of these women at all or not?
So years ago in Antigonish, which I found out this summer, I talked to a friend of mine whose mom used to disappear in the middle of the night and settle somebody into a house in the community who was fleeing violence. And so this is not a new problem.
Right.
This has been around a long time. Currently, Anuj, to answer your question, no. We don't have, but part of this housing that we're building will have an emergency bed. So there'll be one bed anyway.
Okay.
Invariably, Friday afternoon, 4:00, we get a call, and they need to go. And so if we had that emergency bed, it would be very helpful. You can imagine when they flee, it's the most apt time they're going to be murdered.
Yeah.
So putting them in Aunt Betty's house or Uncle Tim's place
It's not helpful.
is not safe for anybody. And so, and people use devices to track as well. Like, so the perpetrators they're very, they've got their thumb on things, and, we've heard the tales of Apple AirPods following women around in the, underneath the car or whatever. It's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently common.
Too common.
Yeah.
Right. And being in that physical space, which is, you said, intentional community they are building, being next to CSCL and this amazing space, you just found that an opportunity, or you intentionally wanted to be there?
We found an opportunity with Paul and Amy,
right?
And a lot of people said to me, "Well, you'll have to build it and and so people won't know what it is. And I'm like, people are going to know what it is. So
Yeah.
we'll have to build it safe and secure.
Right.
It's interesting that the 2 units we have now are in a neighborhood, and the only people who know about it are the neighbors,
Oh, really?
and they really look after us.
Okay.
Like if something weird is happening, they'll let us know.
Interesting. So it would almost be that same sort of thing. You have a whole community in a sense that's
Whole
looking out for
community
people.
looking after us. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is very informative. Again, another aspect of this community I knew absolutely nothing about. Anuj, surprising.
And be careful
Why?
at home, all the violence you create.
The only violence is created by my cat, who attacks my feet.
And you don't service cats.
I also have a cat.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
No, really, really very informative.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you coming in, and we'll include the information in the podcast episode with links and things like that. Anything else that we missed that?
I don't think so. Thanks a lot for having us. We're just like every great nonprofit in the community. We're just trying to make more impact every day and help our clients. So we're just thankful to get the word out.
And you are a provincial organization, right? You have offices across the
We
province.
don't. Naomi Society was established in 1983 in little old Antigonish, and we serve Antigonish and Guysborough counties. I guess I should mention, we have fundraisers coming up as well to help support this build. So look for those to happen. One is called Coldest Night of the Year.
Coldest night of the year.
But the next one up is called Give Home, Give Hope, which is a really cool decorated butterfly that you'll be able to make a donation and give it to a loved one for Christmas.
What is the ask? How much are you trying
Like
to raise?
$25 for a donation.
Okay.
If you give 100, you get a mug.
And you get tax receipts?
Yeah, tax receipts are issued
charitable
for the
organization.
For the
That's
donation.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being here,
Wow.
and we'll chat more soon.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Antigonish. If you like the podcast, don't hesitate to subscribe. Just go to letstalkantigonish.ca and click. Voila! You'll receive new episodes right in your email inbox.
This podcast is a labor of love. Please consider making a contribution, small or large, maybe a monthly subscription. Depending on the level of public support, we would like to engage local producers and journalists to create more regular deep dive news stories about life here in Antigonish.
Right now, it's just Anuj and I doing this in our free time. You can read all about the podcast and ways to support us at letstalkantigonish.ca. And if you're a local business that wants to sponsor the podcast or even place an audio ad, we are certainly not opposed. A huge thank you to all of our subscribers, and especially our paid subscribers, which have helped us to buy the audio equipment that we needed to get this thing off the ground. And remember to get in touch with us if you have an idea for a future episode or a burning question about life in Antigonish that you want us to explore and get answers to. We welcome all feedback. Just email us at letstalkantigonish@gmail.com. Let's talk, Antigonish.